Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the GK Union. It's the two of us again. It's becoming a theme. I think the others still exist.
Not sure. Not seen him. Not heard from him.
I did get a message from Harry yesterday, completely unrelated to the podcast, so I know he's still alive. Jack went on holiday with his mum, I want to say, to somewhere in Spain.
Who knows?
Maybe
Lost to us.
Maybe it would never be seen again. But we are only, 3-4 weeks away from the Premier League season starting, so
Not far away. Yeah.
So maybe, just maybe, they'll both be about when that kicks off. But we've got the small matter of the quarterfinals and looking forward to the semi-finals to dig into.
As
so
of tonight, isn't it?
It is. Early predictions for this evening's game?
Oh God, I don't know. I reckon it'll go to pens. You've got a stubborn Spain versus a overexcited France.
Yeah, I think the only, on paper, you'd initially think, based on the tournament, France score a lot of goals, Spain don't score a lot of goals. Maybe it'll be a bit one-sided.
But they've only conceded one goal.
Yeah, they don't.
Versus a team who have leaked goals but also scored many.
Yeah.
So they kind of balance each other out. So this is what I mean. I think it could easily go to pens and it could just get flipped. But it's hard to not say France, really.
Yeah, they've definitely been the form team of the tournament, I think, for me. They've, with the exception of the Paraguay performance, and that was more because they were so unsettled in being able to play their football that it ruined the whole balance of the entire game.
I still think they played really well, considering they nearly got assaulted every time a challenge came in.
Yeah, they still did well, but I think that's the only game where it's not followed suit with their other performances.
Their French selves.
Yeah, so it's hard to look past them. But if there's a team that can keep them out for 89 minutes and score another last-minute 1-0 victory type performance, it's the Spaniards.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight game. I'm very excited to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be engrossing. I think will be the word for that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know who, if we were to progress, who I'd even want. For all the same reasons of the fact that France could easily just smash you attacking wise, and England aren't exactly the best defensively this tournament, and the Spanish will just pass us to death.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because I would say that France's biggest weakness is probably at the back. I feel like we said about it in the early episodes, I feel like they're a world-class keeper away from being a complete squad, and I feel like that's their only slight weakness. I feel like you can get at them, it's just getting the ball off them. And then you have to be good when you do
transition on the counter.
Yeah,
like
you have to take your chances.
Fairly good at counter-attacking to an extent, but they take it to a whole new level. Like attacking-wise, they're just an unstoppable force, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think that maybe I would prefer Spain in the final, purely on the basis that I feel like there is less of a goal threat from them. So it's you kind of feel like if you can score a couple, you might be good enough to get a result.
They've one goal this entire tournament.
What's the final score of the Belgian game?
2-1.
Is it 2-1?
They've only conceded one, and they're in the semi-finals, and they've not lost a game since before they won the Euros.
Yeah.
Either way, it's going to be a tough game, no matter who we get, for different reasons, and maybe I reckon we'd probably be more suited to France potentially. I'm not sure. I'm split.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's strange actually, because Spain are on the cusp of potentially doing yet another Euros and World Cup double, but I wouldn't say going into either tournament they were necessarily the squad that you would have picked to go and win both tournaments. And I still don't feel like, based on performances in this tournament, that they are a team that you would go, oh yeah, that's my winner.
But they've not even hit their stride yet, have they? Really, they've not even looked like they've got out of second gear.
Yeah, they're not.
They look really dull. But then you think about most Spanish teams that have played; they've never really looked that exciting to play against. They look good on the ball, but they don't. With the exception
of would have been like the 08-10 corridor, I think, where they did the double, and obviously they
might have looked a bit more exciting then, but even they still played the same sort of football, just now they got a little bit of less flair. Yeah, they don't look they don't really look, but they're still doing the job. Like, they're doing what they need to. They're not conceding many, which allows them if you don't concede, you don't lose.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So.
And I think the good thing from their perspective is there was a lot of question marks, probably more from the UK media than elsewhere, but obviously going with Unai Simon in goal. Yes, I called him Seaman because I'm English, and it's either that or Simon, but I feel like that's more offensive to call him Simon than
Simon.
Yeah, Seaman. He's a Spanish David Seaman, is what he is. I think there would have been a lot of question marks if they hadn't been defending as well for not going with David Raya after his performances in both the league and Champions League this season, and it speaks volumes to the level of performances that they're getting from their keeper, in that he's barely been mentioned throughout the tournament, and he's probably one that would have had a huge spotlight on him purely on the basis that you'd argue one of the top 5 keepers in the world is playing number 2 to him.
Yeah, he's been very good when he has been called upon as well.
Yeah.
He's like you say, against Portugal, he made a few good saves in there.
He did it as well when he came in for the Euros, because again, the shoe-in everyone expected to be in goal for the Euros was David De Gea, and you kind of go, he's
is this the same manager who basically just got him out the squad, De Gea, even though he was in like the form of his life? Is this the same manager?
I want to say that was Del Bosque. I don't know who's the manager now, but
yeah.
But either way, he came in and he's cemented his place, and you could have argued, I guess, youth over experience when it came to replacing David De Gea with him, but to keep David Raya out of the team has been, and without there being any question marks, it's not been mentioned once in any of their punditry post game. Nobody said, "Oh, just think if they had David Raya, like it could have been different." Like he's just been really quality, which again begs the question as to why he's not a keeper that you've seen go to one of the biggest clubs. I look at teams like Barcelona, for example. I would say they've been struggling for a number 1 for a little while that you would class as genuine top flight level. You look at Bayern Munich going through the issues that they had, obviously with Neuer getting his injury, and they seem to just have temporary keeper after temporary keeper. Again, you look at that and you go, there's a keeper here that every time there's an international tournament looks near on unbeatable, super calm, doesn't seem to get anything wrong, and not one of the big clubs when they've needed a keeper to step in have looked around and gone,
well, he's a Spanish Pickford, isn't he, really? Because Pickford is unbelievable at international level. Probably arguably one of England's best keepers at international level, but at club level, he's just
middle of the road.
Average, yeah. He's still a very good keeper at club level, but he's not the best in the league by any means of the imagination. So,
yeah, I would agree with that.
The Spanish Pickford, I don't think anyone's called him that, but he is now.
I think you heard it here first. Yeah. We've dubbed him the Spanish Pickford.
There we go. It's a new thing. Let's start the trend.
Yeah, it's another trend. Last episode, it was bringing back the offensively loud goalkeepers kits. This time, it's renaming Unai Simon to the Spanish Pickford.
Yep.
Pickfordo. Giordano Pickfordo. But yeah, I think this, of the 2 semi-finals, I feel like that's the one that's genuinely hardest to call. I feel like the England-Argentina one. I feel like
that's a harder one to call just on the basis that France are so good attacking, but the Spanish so good defensively. Whereas Argentina and England are almost exactly identical. They both suck at defending for large portions of the game, but then attacking wise is where they really kind of make up for their lackluster defending.
Yeah. My confidence going into the semi-final against Argentina is if you look at all of their knockout fixtures, they have shipped goals to what I would consider to be below par teams and have required extra time twice and a last-minute winner once. And it gives me confidence because whilst we aren't at our best defensively, with the exception of the Croatia game, we're not shipping tons of goals, and we do see it would seem to be scoring relatively well, with the exception of the Ghana game. We've scored at least 2 goals a game. So I sit there and I think if we bag a couple and we can defend more like we did against Mexico, and to be fair, like we did against Norway, I thought defensively against Norway, and we'll come on to it in a minute, I thought we looked very solid in comparison to earlier games in the tournament. I feel like if we repeat similar levels of performance there, I feel like we might just have enough to get over the line.
I don't know. A lot of this kind of, for me, makes me just think, especially with the last tournament and this tournament, Argentina always seem to find a way. And also, there's everything just seems to go Argentina's way. Now, I'm not saying there is biasry in the side of Argentina, but I am. There seems to be a lot going their way.
It's
like Egypt was a massive
good fortune,
thing. But then we've had a lot of good fortune as well, and Norway was a massive one. Again, I know we'll go into England-Norway game at great detail, but I just think that I don't know, everything seems to favour Argentina, and I just think they'll have a lot. And I read a article today. Apparently, Messi's favourite referee is refereeing this game as well,
that's nice
which
to know.
really goes in good stead.
Yeah,
which just kind of sums up how I feel.
We've actually got, from what I understand, a reasonably good record against Argentina in tournament football, with the exception of 98 when we got knocked out on penalties. I think we've actually got a pretty good record aside that game. We beat them in 66, so that's always a good sign. Beat them this time, I reckon we win it. 60 years of hurt. Done.
I must say, if we beat Argentina, I won't get comfortable until we make it to the final.
Yeah,
if we get to the final, I think we'll do it.
Let's lock the predictions in, because I feel like we've got so much to dig into about the actual about the quarters.
Yeah.
Let's lock our predictions in. So France, Spain, where are you going?
I'm going a Spanish penalty win. I'm going to Spanish win. I think they're going to shock. I'm going to think there's a repeat of the Euros. They're just going to shock them.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of a feel that at some point they're going to click and they're going to do more than just need one goal to win a game.
They're just going to keep them out. I think they're just going to keep them out.
My heart tells me I would prefer Spain in the final if we got there. My head tells me I think it's going to be France. I think it's going to be close, but I think they win it 2-1. Maybe it goes to extra time. I'm not too sure, but I think France
2-2 and then pens, and then Spanish win, because anything happens on pens.
This is true. I think genuinely, if it goes to pens, I feel like Spain will do a good job, and we'll get through. But I'm going 2-1 France. What about England, Argentina?
I think England do it in extra time, is what I'm going to tell myself, as much as I'm trying to argue. So I think England do it 2-1, or 2-1 extra time.
I like it. I think, based on what I've seen from Argentina and their defensive woes, I think it's another 3-2 like the Mexico game.
I like 3-2.
I think it's another 3-2. But
that was where I was going to go.
I feel like we'll be 3-1 up and they'll get a late one that makes it very nervy, but I think we'll just see it through. I don't think it's extra time. I think it's 3-2.
Yeah, I like
3-2.
I think I prefer you 3-2 over 2-1.
Yeah, well, you called it 2-1 in extra time, so that's your prediction. That's fine.
That's fine.
So we will find out. Obviously, game 1 is this evening, so that'll be a tester. And this, it may have happened by the time this comes out. But
are you playing at the same time the game
tonight?
Yeah.
7:45 kickoff. So.
And what time is it? 8 p.m.
I want to say it is. Who knows?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to come watch you tonight.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It could be. I mean, it could be another 3 a.m. kickoff for all I know. Who knows?
I'm going to look now. Because
have a little look. Let's find out.
We'll just have a plan my evening, and what better place to do it than the pod?
Absolutely. Why do we need to stick to any form of rules, regulations, and decorum?
8 p.m. Yeah,
8
sorry. Sorry. I wish you the best, though.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I'm hopefully starting, which means I can get my stint done and out of the way, and I can have.
That's very true. Have you seen they've been kicking off in some places of the world, basically saying that they find it crazy the fact that the semi-final games are kicking off at 8 p.m. our time, which is basically like midday over in the US. And they think it's just a crazy time for, especially like people maybe over there or nations who could watch it at a better time. They're not being able to see it. I mean, it benefits teams in Europe because they can actually see it, but obviously these times are already planned anyway. And people were actually complaining the fact that these games are at midday where people still have jobs, are working, kids are at school, can't actually watch it. And this whole point of the tournament over there was to engage more people over there. And I mean, I'm not going to complain because I actually can have a decent night's sleep and go to work and watch it.
It could be a lot worse for them. They could have to, get up at 1 a.m. to watch their team. So I'd say a midday kickoff is perfectly fine. And let's face it, do we really care what they say out in the States and places like that?
Oh no, I'm not.
They're not in the fucking.
Oh, I just clearly just.
They're not in the semis.
Making a point.
It's a good point. I think actually more from a perspective of if you want to get the best quality of game out of the semi-finals, kicking off in the heat of the day seems like more of an issue than just like people being able to watch it, because You look at, for example, our quarterfinal. Obviously, the biggest challenge that the players said playing in Miami was that actually the humidity was harder to cope with than the altitude in Mexico. So I look at it more from that perspective and go, is a midday kickoff overly wise? It depends. Again, I'm not too sure where they're taking place, the semis, because
not
again,
sure. They're both in New York, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah. I think I know the final's in New York.
Yeah, I was going to say, because again, if one of them's in like Dallas, for example, which is basically an indoor temperature controlled stadium, it doesn't matter what time you kick off. But if it's somewhere like Miami and you're kicking off heat of the day, that's probably more of a question mark over the logicality. Is that a word? Logicality?
Is now
logicalness. The logic. So yeah, it questions the logic of it. But I think people will moan about everything when they at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I just did find it quite funny, the fact that imagine if we had the tournament over in Europe and they just moved the kickoffs to, I don't know, 12 p.m. just to accommodate other people in other countries whilst we work, we'd be all fuming.
Yeah, I guess the difficulty is that you look at where the majority of teams come from, and it's the majority of them unfortunately are European based. So we would have games kicking off at either 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. local time, and people would have to deal with it. But
yeah, well, I mean, fuck them.
At the same time, it's not really our problem, is it?
Yeah, I don't care. Suck it up.
It means we get to
get
watch
up and watch it like we have and skip work.
Didn't see me complaining when I was getting up at 2 a.m. to watch us absolutely destroy Mexico and then have the most fucking anxiety-driven last 10 minutes.
Off at 2 a.m., not 2 p.m.
Yeah, well, 2 a.m.
You said 2 p.m.
Oh, did I? I meant 2 a.m. Who knows? Who cares?
You getting up at 2 p.m. is a bit lazy.
Self-employed.
To watch it.
Self-employed.
Self-unemployed.
Yeah, I had to actually had to wake myself up after my lunchtime nap. But yeah, so into the quarters. We'll start with the big one. We'll start with England. You were apprehensive of our likelihood of beating Norway because of the fact that they were massively overperforming in the tournament and looked very good.
And hadn't lost a game in a very, very long time, which I was made aware of.
Yeah. And Haarland was on a ridiculous run. I think he'd scored in 15 in a row.
Yeah, I was bitterly disappointed. It was just a hard, terrible watch.
It wasn't a comfortable game,
predicted,
was it?
Yeah. I don't think... I never felt like we were going to lose, but I never thought we were good enough to win, really. We were...
I was expecting penalties. When I went to extra time, I was expecting penalties because it just felt like that kind of game. Like I didn't have like the Mexico game, for example. I had that feeling that we were going to get over the line. Like when we went 3-1 up after the red card, like I just had this feeling that we're not going to lose today. Whereas I didn't necessarily feel like England were going to lose. I just didn't feel like there was a goal coming.
I was the opposite. I thought that we were going to be able to find a way of doing it. I just think that this is what concerns me for the semi-final, is the fact that Norway are a good team, but are they better than Argentina? They're probably round about the same level. But again, we were the creators of our own demise. Like, you know, the mistake from John Stones getting tackled and nearly cost us a goal. The fact that we had a 2-on-1 that they just ended up butchering. Like they potentially lost the game due to their own mistakes and conceding them. And also we were very lucky from what I didn't know is a decision where the ball hit the camera in the sky and then...
Yeah, I'm not. I've seen so many videos of this. You just can't fucking tell. Like, you genuinely cannot tell.
I didn't know this until about 2 days afterwards.
Same. And the uproar about it, people claiming it's the most obvious thing in the world, it's really not that obvious. And if they've got technology...
Obvious not to see it, or obvious what the decision is?
No, you can't tell that it hit.
Oh, right. Well, they didn't say anything during the game.
No.
Well, not that I'd seen, but...
But, yeah, I just think that's just, again... People love a moan, don't they? Oh, it's hit the wire. It shouldn't have counted. Well,
they're right. It shouldn't have. If it did, If it did,
all I'm going to say is they've got and people have tried to use this as a way for claiming that England have got it fixed. But Croatia, they whip a ball into the box, it grazes the hair on someone's head, and that little chip in the ball goes. I noticed a little touch there, and they went, oh yeah, there was enough of a touch. He's now offside. There we go. That goal doesn't count. So if the technology is good enough, it can detect a hair, and it didn't go off at it hitting a wire. For me, it didn't hit the wire. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And you could look at it and go, oh, it clearly hit the wire, so the technology didn't work. Well, every angle that I've seen, and there's only 2 angles available, even when it's zoomed right in, you cannot tell that it's hit the wire. The ball doesn't deviate so much. And we've played on 4G where you've got a wire running across it. When the ball hits it, it's painfully obvious that it's hit it. It drops immediately. I'm not buying it. I think it's one of those things where it got close to the wire. They've conceded. The first person that reacted was the goalkeeper. And for me, that's probably because he's feeling a bit frustrated that he's taken a goal kick and within 30 seconds and 2 passes he's conceded. And it's, what do you do in a massive game? You appeal for it.
Well, this is it. To be fair, I didn't even know when it came because they've said it hit the wire. I don't know at what point it ever did.
Yeah. Well, allegedly from the goal kick. So he kicks it downfield. Allegedly it clips the wire and that's when it drops to the England player who then feeds it to Gordon, cuts inside, gives it to Bellingham, goes and scores. And they're right. That should have been a drop ball. Well, provide me one piece of conclusive evidence that shows it hit the wire.
This is it, isn't it? It's only if it's plain obvious they can't really overturn a decision.
Yeah, exactly.
And if no one can say it certainly has happened,
well, exactly,
then everyone's convinced it is. I don't know. I don't care either.
I don't care either. And also, on that side of things, loads of people were saying that the second Norway goal was contentiously disallowed. I mean, I'm looking at it going, yes, the ball's not in play, but this is exactly why they brought the rule in, that they can give a foul.
I'd seen it straight away because I saw the build-up and you could see Haarland and Anderson were going at each other and you could just sense there was going to be a foul. And as soon as that ball, I kept my eyes fixed on it. He's pushed him. It's 2 hands. It doesn't matter how soft it is. It's 2 hands to the chest.
The slight confusion for me is I thought, and again, they haven't showed it from a good enough angle where you can see whether the ball is in play when he shoves him. Because of how it played out, I thought he shoved him because the ball's actually been played in, which if it has, it should have been just a free kick to us. But according to VAR, the referee, the ball wasn't in play, which is why they ordered a retake.
I'm pretty sure it's because, no, isn't it when they are taking the ball in and there is a foul, they then have to retake the corner. So I was having this conversation with someone at the bar I was at. He was basically saying, well, why is it a corner? And I'm pretty sure it's either if it's before the ball goes in or if it's as he's taking it or as the ball's being put in, they then have to retake it. So it's not a free kick.
Yeah, which I think is, like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, well, if you can I think they should simplify it because I feel like that's an overcomplication of the rule. If they deem that it's a foul, because my understanding is if it's the other way around and they've deemed the defender to have committed a foul before the ball's in play.
Well, so this is where it might be. I think it's before the ball's put in. So it must be because it's as he's running up to the ball. He must, which makes sense because usually you make you run as he's up to take it.
But my question would be, if it's the other way around and they've deemed the defender has fouled before the ball's in play, are they ordering a retake or are they going, that was a foul?
It'd be a retake. It works both ways. If there's a foul before it's taken, that's the rule.
I would hope so.
And it was a clear and obvious foul. And I think my mate said at the time, or Danvers said at the time, that that's too soft to not be given. I was like, it's still a foul. It's 2 hands.
It's 2 hands in a
shove. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's like he's gone to shove him across the pitch or he's just lightly touched him. 2 hands in the chest is a foul.
Yeah. And then you look at how it then played out. Obviously, I know Haarland didn't make the first contact, but at the end of the day, he then makes a 3v.
Yeah, he still got involved with the goal.
Makes a 3v2 right around where the ball enters the box. And if he doesn't shove Elliot Anderson to the floor, he doesn't get there, which means we probably have a much better chance of winning that first contact and you clear your lines.
Yeah.
But 100% thought it's the right decision.
Oh, God, I was so confident that being overturned. Now, I wasn't even worried.
Jed Spence penalty.
It's a pen.
Good. Glad you said that. I'm looking at this and I get the whole like initiating contact argument. There are players that will throw a leg out so that they get contact, and that's...
Does it even really do that anyway? I think that's a load of bollocks.
My interpretation of this is you've got, obviously he's a defender, but in that moment he's attacking. You've got an attacker that bursts into the box and he's in front of his man, and all he's trying to do is get his body across the defender to give him the protection over the ball so he can decide if he's shooting or if he's crossing. That movement isn't, I've got a defender near me, I'm going to throw my leg out and let him run into it. That's him doing what you would do, what you're taught to do from the age of fucking 3 years old, which is protect the ball. He's trying to use his body, putting himself between man and ball, and the defender's too close to him, and he's just fucking clumsy, and he's gone through the back of him. The minute they said they're going to look at that, and they started going, he's moved his leg into the defender's space.
I couldn't believe it.
he's the one in
his
control.
Most clear and obvious foul.
Yeah. Like, I look at that in exactly the same way that you would treat any form of like racing incident where there's a crash going into a corner. The car that's in front has got every right to choose where they go. The car behind is the one that's got to be sensible enough not to be so close that if they change line, they don't hit them.
Yeah.
It's the same in that instance. If you're defending and the man's got ahead of you, you can't just run in a straight line and then be like, well, he moved into my space. He can do what the fuck he wants. He's got the ball and he's ahead of you, mate. Like, it baffled me.
It was ludicrous, the thing that got overturned.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't have any impact, but yeah.
Yeah. I did enjoy the off-field social media spat between Roy Keane and Alfie Haarland that transpired after the game.
I've not seen this.
So Alfie Haarland commented or tweeted, said something along the lines of, well done to Bellingham and the referee. Roy Keane then flippantly pointed out the fact that every time he was on camera, he was drinking beer, and he said, if you're drinking that much during the game, can you really give an honest assessment? And Haarland responded with a tweet that said, once a prick, always a prick. And I thought that's just a really nice little icebreaker for a tense situation, that you've just got two people that still clearly fucking hate each other, that don't care about media responsibilities and will just say it as it is. And I also really enjoyed the fact that Alfie Haarland was so upset about the result.
Yeah, just really bitter about it.
Probably annoyed at the fact that his son got dragged off at the start of extra time as well.
That was an interesting choice.
Really did not get that.
Yeah,
and going by his reaction, there wasn't an injury there.
No.
Because he was livid, and not in the Courtois way of like, you can see that World Cup dream's over, can't believe I'm having to go off injured, absolutely distraught. He just looked like he was going to murder his manager.
Yeah, that's a weird decision when you're 2-1 down.
Was it 2-1 or was it 1-0 at that point? I think it was 1-0 at that point, because that was at the start of extra time.
The start of extra time, was it?
Yeah.
Well,
just didn't make
it was
sense.
even worse decision then. It's
particularly when you've got
game.
Potentially penalties losing.
He's not a bad penalty taker either.
Yeah, he's not the most prolific, but at the same time, player that scored 15 goals in a row for you, 15 games in a row for you, and has basically been one of the standout performers of the World Cup in an attacking sense. And you go, yeah, we're clinging on in a game that many would have said we're not the favourites. Yeah, let's just take him off. I was like,
bizarre choice,
weird choice, very strange. And the thing is, it's not like they've got someone that you would say you could argue would make sense coming on. Like we said before the tournament, if Harry Kane has to come off because of the conditions at 90 minutes and it's gone to extra time, at least we've got either Ollie Watkins, who's a great striker, or you've got an Ivan Toney to bring on if you're 10 minutes left of of extra time, and you think you might be going to penalties. You've got players that you can bring on and you go, do you know what? If it goes to penalties, they can do as good a job as Harry Kane. Like, Norway just aren't in that situation where they've got equal quality to come off the bench and be able to do a difference. Like, no disrespect to Strand Larsen, but he's not even 50% of the player that Haarland is.
And I don't think he's going to be able to change the game when he needs it to.
I'd have almost been more tempted if I was the Norway manager to have sacrificed somebody else and put two up top. Because I think how we've defended, you put two big fuckers up there, I think there's every possibility.
I think we'd almost settled at that point, though. This is like the good and bad thing about England is eventually we do settle. And after, I think in the second half, they didn't really look like scoring. They had moments, but every team has moments. I don't think we ever looked like we were going to concede. Never felt like we were going to concede more. In the first half, we looked really shaky. But so,
which brings me on to. We were waxing lyrical about that it's been a bit of a World Cup for goalkeepers. We haven't seen much by way of significant error. It's all been good level performances, outstanding performances from those you wouldn't expect. But we did
quarterfinal blunders, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
We did see 2 games decided by
pretty much identical, weren't they?
They were.
I think the first one I want to start with is Lamans. I got a feel for him. I like Lamans because he's not had a standout season for United, but considering how big that position was, he's really kind of cemented it.
He's been, and again, obviously, as a United fan, he has genuinely been exceptional, and he makes things look very easy. I think the challenge, obviously, it's always difficult coming on in a game of that magnitude, 70 minutes in, when you haven't played a minute of football.
I kind of knew he was going to do it. You knew it was going to happen when he came on, because it
was going to go one of two ways, wasn't it? It was either going to be like he's the hero in like a shootout, or the fact that he's coming in cold.
I was so kind of on the scent of the fact, especially Courtois basically played really well in that game as well. I kind of just knew that, yeah, he's got a mistake in him, which kind of makes sense. He's not played since he played his last game with United, which was nearly 2 months ago,
yeah.
And that was his first minutes in a high stakes game.
Yeah, and I think also, again, we spoke about it early rounds in terms of getting used to the ball, the flight of the ball, how quick it arrives. And I also saw some really good punditry. I can't remember who it was. It was a former goalkeeper talking about it on social media. I can't remember who it was. But they highlighted the fact that obviously he would have been involved in the warm-up where the pitch was a lot wetter. The ball was arriving at a different pace. It's skipping up off the floor in a different manner. By the time he came onto the game, the pitch is a lot drier because it's obviously a very hot day. So therefore, the bounce of the ball when it actually hits the floor would have been completely different to what he warmed up in. So not only is he coming in cold, not only has he had a lack of experience with dealing with that ball and getting used to it throughout the tournament like all the other keepers have, he's also got that change in conditions between what he warmed up with and what the state of the play is when you're on the pitch. And the reason why obviously that wouldn't have affected Courtois is because obviously the change is so gradual throughout the game, you develop with it. Whereas when you're coming in cold and you've warmed up in one situation and then you're straight in, it's easy to get caught out. And I do think the points that were raised by Joe Hart early in the tournament were so, unfortunately, brilliantly amplified with that Lamans one. Because again, if you watch the replay, he's anticipating it's going to bounce in front of him because of where his hand position is. He's perfectly positioned that if it bounces and stays low, he can gather, but if it skips up, that he can push away. The trouble is I think the ball arrives far closer to him than he's anticipated because it's moving that bit quicker. So by the time the ball bounces and gets to him, he hasn't actually got his hands in either position and it just hits him. And part of it is probably coming in cold, but I think part of it is the fact that he hasn't had 4 or 5 games prior to that one to get used to that.
I was going to say, I think, like you say, that although a lot of that might be true, I think a lot of it is just the fact that they were his first minutes in quite a long time. And me and you are both victims of the fact that you can train and play for as long, or train, but not if you don't play matches. It doesn't matter how much you train, doesn't matter how much you warm up. Your first game in, you're just going to be slow for the first 20, 30 minutes. And when you come in with 20 minutes to go, unless you have nothing come your way, you are going to struggle. And it's like, if you use your reasoning for that, it doesn't really kind of work the same for whoever the goalkeeper is for whoever we played.
Nyland, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. It doesn't work. Because then that doesn't work for him. And it was basically the same error. It's a shot right in front of him. And the goalkeeper has basically played every minute of this tournament and also played the entire game to that point and not really had tremendous amounts to do either.
Yeah. But I think that's actually the key point of what makes the two different. I do feel like it's a combination of circumstance for Lomans that led to the error. Whereas I think with the Norway goal, with England's winner, I think we witnessed probably for the first time in the tournament the difference between an elite level keeper and a very good keeper, because elite level goalies will go 80, 90 minutes with nothing to do. And then when called upon, are there, they're ready, they're fucking on it. And I think that goal coming that late into extra time, I think for me personally, it just showed that he's good but not exceptional, and it was more of a concentration. It was more of a fatigue-led error in that he's probably just fucking knackered. It's hot, it's humid. He's been out there 112 minutes or whatever it is, and I think it's just that momentary lapse of concentration where he just either takes his eye off the ball or just doesn't fully commit to what he's doing for whatever reason. I think that's the difference between the two. I think one is, like as I said, a product of the circumstances kind of conspiring against them, and the other one was highlighting to the rest of the world that how hard it is to be a keeper and how switched on you've got to stay, because if you're going into deep into extra time in tough conditions, the best goalkeepers are the ones that gather that up and swallow it up, and it's done and everyone goes, great save, he smothered it, amazing. The good keepers that aren't exceptional are the ones where it just bounces off them and they get punished. And I think that's the difference between the two. And it's not to say that Nyland, I think that's his name, whatever his name is, Norwegian chap, he's had an excellent tournament. He's been absolutely brilliant for them. He really, really has. But I think that just showed, a bit like we said before the game, world-class players in their squad. That for me, there was only 2. The rest are very good players. But you don't get to World Cup semi-finals with the majority of your team being very good players. You need exceptional players in key areas. And I think that's, if you look at all of the teams, with the exception of France from a goalkeeping perspective, but Spain, unbelievable keeper.
Yep.
England, unbelievable tournament keeper. Argentina, unbelievable tournament keeper. And then you look at the rest of their squad, they've got players of a similar level or better throughout their spine. We've got a great, I don't think our defence is as good as it has been in recent years, but midfield and attack our spine of it is exceptional. Argentina, midfield, attack, exceptional. Good defenders as well. Spain, just the entirety of their spine, exceptional. France, pretty much from their back four forwards, it's exceptional.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. I think when it came down to it and you're going deep into a match, deep into extra time, Norway didn't have enough players of elite level quality to get them through, I think. And I think that's why that mistake happened.
I mean, squad depth really helped us in that game as well.
Massively.
Just fortunate. Yeah, I think Rodgers having a shot, which was nice to actually see a player have a shot outside the area for once. Yeah. That was quite refreshing. It's been a bit of opportunities like that though as well.
Yeah, but it's been a bit of a strange one because it was highlighted quite early on about the flight of the ball and it arriving quickly at goalkeepers, but we didn't see a barrage of shots from outside the box. Whereas you think back to when the Jubilani was in use and the amount of goals from outside the box, it's because everybody knew, and it was very similar when the Total 90 ball came into the Premier League. Suddenly goals from outside the box were going in all the fucking time because players knew it was so difficult to predict the flight of the ball. Yeah. And I did find it a little bit weird that it got picked up on after like game 1 or 2 and no one's really been
kind of stopped.
Yeah, no
every
one's
team
been taken
really shooting outside.
But when it matters, Morgan Rodgers just had a go, and if you hit the target, you've always got a fucking chance.
That's it, yeah.
And if you follow it in,
yeah, basic football.
What did you make? We'll come on to the others in a moment because obviously we've sort of touched on a few bits and scattered around it. But before we move on, what did you make of the Tuchel post match and the Bellingham post match and the random hysteria around it?
I think Kane summed it up perfectly. I think the English media have just got some way of just trying to basically find any reason to, I don't know, make a good thing bad and trying to, because there's already speculation that Tuchel and Bellingham don't get along, which is hilarious because Tuchel picked Bellingham over your likes of Palmer,
Foden.
I was going to say the Man City kiddie then. And yet he's then starting when, again, the argument came up of Rodgers or Bellingham, started Bellingham. He's now like the highest goal-scoring midfielder in the tournament.
One off of Golden Boot at the moment?
He's top 5 in Golden Boot, level with Kane as well. And now they're trying to find reason to say that, trying to cause a rift again. And it's like, there's just no need.
But also, I don't think there was need for the interview to go down that route from Gabriel Clark either. No. You've asked the manager what his assessment was, and he's like, actually, I'm a bit annoyed because whilst we showed great mentality, great maturity, I don't think the quality was there.
Yeah, which
and everyone watched the game. We all saw it. It wasn't a great game. And I just think it's so unnecessary to put that question straight to a player.
To ask an emotional player who's absolutely exhausted because of the humidity.
Yeah, and he's just played 120 minutes.
Yeah, 120 minutes. And just got 2 goals to win us the game and got us to another semi-final of a major tournament, which is unheard of.
Have you spoken to the gaffer?
Years.
He's a bit pissed off with that display. What do you make of that?
He was actually really happy with the result. He was just disappointed with how we've got it. And he's just... Yeah,
but again, I think you need that. Like we've seen it with Southgate. He probably didn't demand as much as he could out of the players. I think he would have given a much more positive assessment of that result in the media. And sometimes I think you just need a manager that reminds everybody that it's more than
keeps
just
people motivated. And it's just stop trying to find a reason. Can we not just for once unite as a country and just be like, fuck it, we got the result, when usually this England team back before 2018, we would just crumble.
Yeah.
And we would just, we would lose that Norway team. Like, God, we lost to Iceland in 2016.
And the thing is you look at it and you go, actually, if the goal that's been set to Tuchel by everybody at St George's Park, everybody at the FA is to win the World Cup, if the expectation that's been set to the players before going out there is that they're there to win the World Cup, I would 100% want my manager after a quarter-final to be like, do you know what, that performance ain't good enough.
Yeah.
The result's amazing, but the performance wasn't good enough.
It was a hard watch and it was terrible. We got lucky, and there's only so much that you can have. We need to be so much better against Argentina. So I love the fact that Tuchel's come out and said that. I can understand Bellingham's reaction to it, But I also love that from our manager demanding more out of us, which we can give so much more. Because again, we're still in like second or third gear at the moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the exciting thing for me is that I do feel like the last couple of games we've been improving a bit at the back. Maybe it's not the finished article, maybe it's not amazing, but definitely Mexico ended that game. I do still think against...
I think based on our defensive performance in Mexico, I think our defence was shocking against Norway.
I'm looking at it going, we completely nullified Haarland. He didn't get any real opportunities in the game. And you only have to look at Brazil, for example, who've got a back four or a centre-half pairing of Gabriel and Marquinhos. And even they struggled to stop him from getting two chances. Like, it might not have been a defensive masterclass and it might not have been pretty, but I feel like we did enough to disrupt the opposition, and that's the bit that I'm kind of...
Over a whole game, yeah, I'd agree with you. But again, all I can think about is those two opportunities where John Stones got dispossessed on the edge of our own 18-yard box. Again, 1 yard closer to Haarland, that's a goal. And then when they were 2-on-1 and their player took 10 years or lagged majorly to then pass the ball in a very clear 2-on-1 situation.
Yeah, didn't quite get that.
Again, no, neither did I. And it was those situations like against a better opposition, against your France, against your Spains, against potentially your Argentinas, because they'll have better quality in attack. We can see both of those goals with ease, because Messi being in Haaland's position, he'd be so much nippier and on the ball there.
I wonder if in those positions against better opposition, we probably don't dwell on the ball. We're probably clear lines. It's probably an uglier performance of just classic centre-half play and just clearing. I don't know.
You'd hope so, but again, like we did the same against kind of Croatia, better attacking opposition, admittedly both class goals, but defensively we were still poor. The same things are still happening in every game. Defensively, we start off really slow, and we won't get away with that little shit like Messi.
Yeah, I think the best thing we can do is just absolutely crunch him early doors, get him off injured.
I wouldn't be against it. I mean, Real Madrid did it against Liverpool and got Salah off the pitch, and look what happened then.
Sometimes that's all you need to do.
Yeah,
just kick it old school.
Cheeky John Stones.
I think try and get an early goal, get 1-0 up early on, break Messi, even if you end up with a red card, defend like we did.
I mean, if
Mexico.
Two players run into him, you can't really give both players a red card if they both say they're going for the ball and just crush him in a sandwich.
This is true. Just get Dan Burn to go up for a header against him like he did at the end of the Norway game.
Yeah, what a player Dan Burn is. Everyone questioned him coming in. Everyone said maybe like Lewis Hall should go in instead. He's been... I feel peace when he comes on the pitch.
I've loved every minute of him being on the pitch, and I've been campaigning for him to play more. I also really enjoyed his post-match interview after the Mexico game, where he highlighted the fact that the microphone was set up for someone who's clearly an awful lot smaller. Little things like that. I think he's just got that way about him where he's got that very dry humour. I think he's a good character for the team as well, but he's been very good. Looking at the other quarterfinals, conscious of time and not rambling on too much because there's a lot to get into.
Yes.
So, Spain-Belgium. There was a moment where I thought Belgium might do it, you know?
I thought they would, but as soon as they took Courtois off, I knew. And then they took De Bruyne off. And then it was just like, it was almost a bit like Norway. You just knew they weren't going to do it. And they brought on, what's his face for Spain?
Marino.
He's the fourth best striker in the world. He's just so good. More tournament goals than Ronaldo.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've never even thought he was a striker. When he went to Arsenal, I thought he was a midfielder. And
he is by definition, he is a midfielder. Yeah. But he just gets brought on up front as this super sub striker, and he's proven his worth.
It's like when United started putting Harry Maguire up top under Ten Hag and Amarin, desperate for a goal. Harry Maguire go up top, unbelievable striker.
Yeah, you just kind of knew, and I think that's what Spain do. I think if they can just hold out for as long as possible, they will eventually just break you.
Yeah,
and this is what I fear for France, is the fact that if they cannot score against them, I think Spain will just find a way.
And I'll be honest, I thought when Mbappe missed the penalty, I thought France were. I thought they were actually going to struggle in that game. They just seemed to be in a bit of.
Do you think?
I did. It had that feel of this game might not go the way that they expected, because they were on top. They looked
What's the keeper's name? Bono?
Yeah, Bono.
It's such a shame that he's gone out. He's been high quality throughout the entire
saved every
tournament.
penalty that he faced.
4. He's now got the highest amount of penalty saves in a tournament or in the
and they're
tournament.
all ridiculous saves as well.
Yeah, they were great. He's been unbelievable. Such a shame to see him out, but then also I think they could have been like 7 or 8-0 up France.
Yeah, and
they were unbelievable again.
I think the reason why they got through, as far as I'm concerned, was it was that first Mbappe goal, which was absolutely disgusting. I think if he doesn't score that, I felt like it was gonna mirror what happened with Paraguay, and the game was gonna run on, and it was just gonna become one of those. And I could see them actually just getting hit on the break and just shipping a goal.
I just don't think Morocco looked like themselves. But then again, it is against France.
This is the challenge with France.
They just didn't really feel like the Morocco that you'd think you usually get, where they thought, oh, you never know. It just kind of, I was watching that game and I just thought France are just going to do it. It looks so obvious.
The minute they got the goal, I was like, this is going to be tough now. Yeah. But yeah, when they saved the penalty at 0-0, and I thought that might be the bit. I thought there might be a bit of hope, but France just do what they do, and Morocco just didn't really have an answer. They never looked like scoring. Yeah, that was their biggest challenge, wasn't it? It felt like from an attacking perspective, they ran out of ideas and ran out of steam going into that game. But
this is kind of what France did in the 2018 World Cup when they won, because they kind of defensively they didn't look very good, but they were getting wins, and now they're starting to become more solid at the back. Yeah, which was their one weakness at the start of the tournament.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What was the other game? It was Switzerland,
Argentina. I didn't watch this. I thought it was 2 a.m. the next day, but regardless, I wouldn't have watched it anyway.
No, I nearly stayed up. I didn't. I watched it in full the next day, and again, it was another one of those. It's what gives me a bit of hope. I know, obviously, it ended up 3-1 Argentina, and you go, oh, easily through. They're definitely there for the taking with how they play. Like, it's another 90 minutes where they've not covered themselves in glory, and yes, they again. Bit like previous games, if they'd have taken some of their chances, it would have been a different story. But there's something about watching Argentina at the moment in the knockouts inside 90 minutes that gives me a lot of confidence. My worry is that I feel like we need to be 3 goals to the good with 10 minutes to spare, or we're facing somehow being pegged back. Like,
I mean,
they just don't give up. That's the good thing about them. They don't give up. The positive from an England perspective is they do seem to be a team that you can get at and you can get chances with. And I just hope we've got enough quality to do that. And Elliot Anderson is prepared to have a messy shape.
Well, they both
shadow.
We kind of grow into the game defensively, they grow into the game attackingly wise. So it'd be interesting to see how they get on. I do think, like I say, we got more depth, and I think we got a better manager who kind of knows how to manage us better. So I think we could easily quite take them. But again, it just depends on how we go on the day, because although Argentina kind of not been taking chances, why does it just scream to me the fact that this will be the game where every shot will just go in?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not. I think it's probably going to be like the last game, but times 1,000. I think it's just going to be the most nervy and uncomfortable and anxiety.
I feel more confident about this game than I do about the Norway game. No, that's the thing, because Norway were just kind of unstoppable and just winning games without anyone ever thinking that they would. But that's where I feel like I'm falling into a trap, because I felt really nervous for the last 2 and thought we'd probably lose. Whereas this one, I actually think, you know what, I think we've got a good chance. Although I think it will go either way. I think this is the best chance that we've had. But then I just feel like I'm just luring myself into a false sense of security, and I feel like we're going to end up getting battered.
We'll find out tomorrow. We'll find out tomorrow on that one. But that Switzerland, I probably would have preferred them over Argentina. But at the same time,
they're a bit like Norway though. They're just a solid, well-rounded team who you'd have to really grind out a result. Yeah. Argentina, on the other hand, I feel like you can just get at them, and I feel like this is a chance for us to really we can be a bit more free flowing. And we can, if we make the subs that we did against Norway and play that way, then I think
the positive that we can look at, again, if you look at Argentina against Switzerland, you look at them against Cape Verde, you look at them against, it was Egypt, wasn't it? Or was it Senegal? Which one was it? Egypt. That run of games where they're 2 goals conceded. Obviously, the Cape Verde one was back and forward, but all of the goals came with quick attack, like counter-attacking play,
Yeah.
like being able to break on them quickly. And that is something that gives me a lot of confidence, is that we have shown in the last couple of games that we can absorb a bit of pressure. We can have a team that's got the ball around us, and we've got the ability to counter really quickly. And I feel like if Gordon has the kind of game that he had in the last game, with Bellingham making those late runs into the box, with Harry Kane up there, if Saka starts, it definitely
Harry Kane needs to be much better for this Argentina game. He was poor, which is a shame, but you can't have a game like that. Although we have Bellingham, that will be our big moments player and will make a massive difference. Can't rely on him to just do it every game. This might be the game where they might focus on him. Kane really needs to come into his own and just produce a bit of magic, which they've both been doing.
But again, I think the difference comes if you've got two wide players who are getting the ball in earlier into the box. I think that gives players like Kane and Bellingham a greater chance to impact. The issue we've had with Madueke is you don't know if that ball's coming in.
Yeah, he was crap.
When he puts a ball in first time, invariably they've all been very good, but it's the fact that he doesn't do it often enough, so the runs aren't being made because nobody knows if they should or not. So I think, again, for me, we probably need to start with Saka and Gordon, or Saka and
just
Rashford.
Depends if Saka's fit, though, isn't he? Really?
Yeah.
And that's been the problem with Rice also not being very well, seeing him come off maybe a bit nervous in that Norway game.
Yeah. Hopefully he's feeling better. But also, I did think when he came off, I don't think we looked unsettled.
It's a bit questionable because I thought Bellingham being in the 8 instead of him, when you got both of them, it's not too bad because Declan Rice will just sit more and he'll push on. But yeah, I don't know. I think it just made me a bit nervous. So hopefully he's recovered because he's going to be integral. But he looked really tired. He was exhausted.
Yeah.
But I mean, him being ill didn't help. But
no, and they did also say that it was like 38 degrees, but with the humidity, it felt like 44, 45
they said he
degrees.
might have food poisoning. Imagine playing in that heat.
Well, yeah. I mean, they apparently went through the Norway camp in the build-up to the game. Loads of their players were out with food poisoning for like 2 or 3.
They seemed absolutely fine.
Yeah.
They didn't even really look like... Yeah, so maybe Declan Rice should just man up.
Yeah, perhaps he should. Yeah. But yeah, so I think for me, that Switzerland game again just kind of gave me a bit more confidence.
Yeah.
They ran out of steam massively in extra time and they were a bit unlucky. Just also, the red card didn't help them. So again, I think on another day, if it's 11v11, maybe that game goes to penalties.
I'd still fancy Argentina.
I still think they would have got. I still think Argentina
based on us beating them on pens.
But yeah, I think the quarterfinals for me has probably been one of the best rounds in terms of
the most entertaining. So on edge, you just don't know how it's going to go,
and so many different talking points as well, which has been great. It's not just been good goals. There's been lots of talking points, and not like the ridiculous ones that we had with like Egypt saying they're going to sue and stuff like that. It was more
just
actual
football based, which is nice to see. And there's no kind of people throwing their toys at the pram. Yeah, it's just been, it's unfair. Football's unfair.
100%. Get over it.
Yeah,
get over it. But semi-finals, I'm still sticking by that original assessment of it'll be an England-France final. But it's I think we're.
Would you prefer? Did you say you prefer France over Spain?
I'd probably prefer Spain.
See, I'd probably go the other way around. I think I'd probably prefer France.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
I don't. I don't care who we get.
What I would have preferred. What I would have preferred is both of those two teams to have gone out by now.
Yeah, I'd rather. I'd rather. I don't know who I'd rather. Just anyone else.
Yeah,
they were probably the two last teams I'd want to play against. But they're there. So
to quote Gary Neville, it's like picking between two blokes to bang your missus.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd rather have none of them, but I don't care which one we'd have because I think either way, both of them are going to be shit for different reasons. So yeah, I think we'll make the final, and I think if we make the final, we'll win it. And I don't think I'll stop drinking if we do. I don't know how I'm going to cope.
I'm just if we win tomorrow night, I'll be drinking right the way through till Tuesday week.
Yeah, are you going to stop on Tuesday?
Probably not.
No,
it's nearly Friday, isn't it, when you get to that point?
I mean, I've been given the day off work on Monday, but I didn't even realise I had it. But I'm going to T20 finals day on Saturday.
Nice.
And then got the World Cup final Sunday. And then it actually could just be amazing, just be a weekend of non-stop drinking.
I can't
believe I've only just been given the Monday off. I think I should have had more.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to cope.
But
if we do win, I'll just make my way over to you from town. somehow.
Yeah, do it. Do
Just
it.
at any
100%. 100%. But I think that's a good place to round it off. We've got our predictions for the semis.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a couple of days' time to review those semis, and hopefully we'll be just as joyous as we are now. Looking forward to a World Cup final.
Hopefully we'll have a semi.
If we're in a final, I'll have more than just a semi. It'll be a full-blown final. Stonk on. On that note, make sure you like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we will see you after the semis, where obviously England are going to be into the finals. I will also just record a second outro to this, just in case we don't go through, and then I'll use that. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna do it.
Full confidence. We don't need a second outro.
It's coming home. We'll see you in a couple of days.